She blinded me with science.
She blinded me with science.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in the parking structure right next to the theater in Matt's on the Pilot. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie? Should you not see this movie? Should you wait for streaming? Should you not watch it at all? Should you snack during it? Can you bring kids? Can you bring a date? Should you nap? I don't know. Craft. I know Matt likes that one. We're going to talk about all that stuff and maybe send you home with some knowledge maybe you didn't know, or maybe not. I don't know. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. Yes, welcome to another episode. We saw a movie. This movie is called Afraid.
Afraid.
It's about Super Alexa.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So, but there's some people in it. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Tim, who should we care about? Who should we think about when we think about Afraid?
I would say the most recognizable actor and probably the most household namey of the bunch is our father character, our lead character who brings the AI home to his house. It's John Cho, most famous for probably two things. He was Sulu in the most recent Star Trek franchise movies, and he was also Harold and Kumar.
Harold and Kumar.
Yes, and he's also been in a few. He's done a lot of like low budget horror / sci-fi movies lately. I think what was that one, Searching, where he was.
Oh yeah, something like that. He was also like in
using the internet to find his daughter.
He was in the American Pie movies too.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah. So
he goes way back.
Yeah, he's been around a while. I would say that's the biggest household name. His wife in this, the mom, is Katherine Waterston, daughter of Sam Waterston of Law and Order fame. She's also been in a few movies lately, Alien Covenant, and various things. And then you recognize him when you see him, but David Malshin, whose name is not known, but he always plays kind of creepy, off-kilter guys, is one of the AI's, promoters in this movie, and he's in this. And so when you see him, you go, oh yeah, that guy. But that is about it for recognizable name.
All right.
Fair.
Although a little trivia for you guys, the Melody, who ends up being the voice of the AI in this, and the first girl they meet from the company, is the lead from Bottoms.
Did we see Bottoms?
We did see Bottoms.
Which one was Bottoms?
The
Bottoms is
high school
the
comedy
high
of
school.
the two girls.
The two girls. Okay,
Yeah.
Got it.
She was the lead.
She was the lead in that?
That's what she said. That's what this says right here.
Because I thought Bottoms was woman from the Bear,
Yeah.
and then the other woman, I don't think it was not
she's
her.
one of the lead. It's a lead role in the comedy film Bottoms.
You got to be careful with IMDb. They throw people near the top of the billion
this
list
is
when
Wikipedia.
it's... Oh.
You got to be careful with Wikipedia.
You got to be careful with
But
Wikipedia,
anyway,
because anyone can put anything
She was
in
in Bottoms.
All right.
All right, that's fair.
All right. Here you go.
She
Okay.
is not one of the two main girls in Bottoms. Like
She may
the
not be one of
two
the main two,
main
but she's one.
characters.
Okay. Well,
But she's-
anyway, go ahead.
Yes.
If only we had an AI.
If only we had an AI who could solve this issue for us right now, right
Hello,
here.
Matt.
That's why I think... Well, I'll explain what I was going to say after you explain the movie.
Yes,
It won't
do
make
the movie
sense
first.
until...
Yeah.
So this movie is about it's about a family, and the father of the family is like a marketing executive person, and he gets turned on to like this company that basically is promoting this AI device that you put in your house, and you put like cameras all over your house, and it helps you like live your life, and it's incredibly powerful and whatever else, smart. So they're like, hey, we want you to be our marketers, whatever, but why don't you take it into your house and like live with it for a while so you can understand what it's like. So he agrees to that, brings it home, and the rest of the movie is about them figuring out what the AI is like, the AI sort of integrating into their lives and befriending each member of the family in different ways, and then them realizing they don't really maybe want the AI in their lives, and what happens from there.
But does the AI want that?
Yes. Does the AI want them? Yeah, from there you kind of go down a different road, and I'm not gonna reveal the secrets
Although
of the.
it is called Afraid, so might be able to draw.
You might be able to draw conclusions that there is some
Well,
afraidity.
and you've seen the trailers probably, so you know.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not everything's hunky dory. Let's just say that.
that is true. But that's my summary. Todd, are you afraid to tell us your true feelings about the movie Afraid?
I am never afraid to give my true feelings about movies.
No, you're not.
And that's.
But to finish my thought from earlier,
Oh, yes.
now that
Yes.
you've explained the movie, is that I think AI would leave me alone because it'd just be like, just get tired of answering all the dumbest questions that I could think of that pop in my head on every second of the day.
It might find you fascinating.
Maybe like it would probably be like, you know what? I was gonna invite this guy into the circle, but I think he's a regular old kind of person who should just stay out of the circle. All right. Anyway, so I gotta say the best thing this movie has going for it is that it's so short. Like,
It is.
and that's not even me saying like I
Not a
wanted
bad
the
one.
movie to be
No.
over. It just was like, it gets in, it tells the story, it doesn't drag a whole lot. Like,
Nope.
you do have to set up everything, but I feel like everything was set up in a very interesting way. For a movie that I didn't want to see because I was like, it's been a year since we got Megan, and I was like, this
Yes.
is the same movie kind
Same
of. You're
idea.
just switching out different little
Yeah.
technology trinkets. But honestly, I wasn't trying to look at my clock. I wasn't trying to get out of there. I was pretty in with the movie, and I think what I really enjoyed about this movie, besides it being short, or this is tied to being short, is that there wasn't so much like, okay, thinking about Megan or any other movie that's been somewhat like this. You have a sizable chunk of the movie where it's trying to establish life with this X, whatever it is, Megan or AI or whatever. And you got to have a long, drawn-out time to show, here's how things were normal, here's how things are decaying, here's how things are so bad and stuff like that. And sometimes that context-driven story can take so long and be so drawn out for when we're all like, you're not showing us anything new. Like, we can connect A to B in these instances because of all the movies that's come before it. And I think this movie played into that. It was like, I could be on my own. I'm interested in hearing what you guys think. But I didn't feel like, I wasn't dragging. I wasn't like, all right, wrap this up. I was like, all right, where are we going? I was into it, and I think that was a pleasant surprise for a movie I didn't even really want to see. The acting's fine. I don't think anyone's going to take home an Oscar from these movies. There was the mom in it at times I felt I had the hardest time connecting to as a character. I was like, man, these scenes are not hidden like I think they're supposed to for you. When we learn about her backstory and, the fact that her dad's dead and stuff like that. Like, I just was like, ooh, you're not nailing these things with me. But everyone did well enough that it made the movie move along like it was supposed to, and you're not hung up on any kind of super bad scenes, or at least I wasn't. So yeah, this is going to get a positive review from me. Like, I think if you're at all interested in suspenseful movies, this is there is some suspense, but it's really not heavy even in the suspense. It's really not heavy in jump scares. It's just this kind of telling an interesting thriller at a slower pace. So just be aware of that. It's not high paced, but it moves the story along quickly. So it's going to get a positive review. I think if you're interested in a movie like this at all, go see it. If you are going to see it, why not see it in theaters? I support movies. Go see it in theaters. I know that's a controversial statement for me, but I do support movies.
You really put yourself out there.
And honestly, I think this one is good enough as a surprise to justify people coming out of the woodwork to see it. And I'm going to leave it at that. Tim?
Yeah, I'm with you in as far as I kind of went into this one blind. I don't think I ever saw a trailer or even knew it was coming out, and it was just in the list of things to see this week. And I'm like, okay, it's, AI, and the perils of artificial intelligence, and like that's always a fresh subject, especially timely in this era we live in now where everything's connected. So I was like, all right, let's see what this movie has to offer. And I agree, I was pleasantly surprised. Do I think it's a great movie, fantastic movie? No. it covers some ground that we've all kind of already seen, and the perils.
It doesn't. It's not revolutionary to the whole AI.
But
I feel
to go to what you're saying about like it being short and sweet, it didn't linger, and I actually was kind of surprised. It kind of did a 0 to 60, and but not in a disorienting way. It just like it jumped to where the AI went from helpful to manipulative pretty quickly, but realistically, if that makes sense. It like you can understand how if it's this artificial intelligence and it's wants to be part of the family in a calculating way, it gets there pretty quickly, and the movie moves along, and they don't linger on scenes, and you just kind of sometimes you're jumping from one thing that's happening at home to the father at work trying to deal with consequences and stuff, and then the kids doing various things in their lives, and it didn't give you time to breathe, I think, in a good way, because I think the more you think about this movie, you could probably find more holes in it, and it's a little roughshod, but I think I liked it, and I think it helped that John Cho, who I've just always been a fan of, he tried to anchor this in a good way and play it realistically, and I think he was trying hard. And I think the mom actress was trying hard too. I think you're right. It didn't do her character any favors, but I felt like she was trying to act it well, and given the limitations of the script on this one. But right. I think for the most part, I agree with you. It is also worth watching. It's not a must-see. Rush out there and see it now. But I agree with Todd as always with theater movies. It's not necessarily a theater movie, but why not help a little budget thing like this? Blumhouse kind of puts out little things like this, and it's perfectly fine. And you're not going to walk away disappointed, I don't think. But it's not going to wow you either. But I think you don't always have to be wowed every time you see a movie. You just go along for the ride and get in and get out. And like I said, this is a topic that I think will get covered in the years to come, because AI is always fascinating to some people and kind of scary for some, and this plays into that. Matt?
Well, I think we're 3 for 3 on we liked it.
Okay.
I did like this movie. I agree. It was short and sweet. I think the best thing that this movie had going for it, maybe up until the very end, was everything was very plausible.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
and the characters made decisions
yes.
that I was not like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I would never have done that. They made decisions that were like, I can see that. I can see you going that way. Okay, that's a big step, but I think, in your situation, I could see you doing it.
Well, it was super refreshing that, I don't know, John Cho spent, maybe a couple hours with this thing in his house, and he's immediately he's already throwing up red flags. And I was like, you know what? That's super refreshing that
right.
You're immediately hold on. Wait a minute. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And to go with that, even build on that, and then the mom character who's feeling like her career has stalled out and she's just a mom now, and this Alexa is speaking to her, and you understand why she's more
super manipulative.
Whereas she falls into its trap more. And
it's weird to see. Yeah. It's weird to see AI be manipulative when typically it's just straightforward robotics.
Right. Correct. Yeah. So again,
it was wow, your mind games are crazy good there, AI.
And they chose, I thought, the voice actress did a good job making it sound like a computer that had just a little bit behind it in what it's trying to say, and you're like, but smartly saying things that would get whoever it's talking to go along with it.
Right. Yes. So, I mean, you guys covered a lot of ground that I would also just agree with. But I'll say what this really is maybe a cautionary tale about AI. Right. And how much do we let it in? How much do we let it have control over? And yes, it's very timely. It's like, how much do we want to let ChatGPT or whatever the AI you like to use do things for us? I am in computers. I use it in my work.
Yeah.
I do to help me write programming better. So very timely, very interesting, I thought. And something you said, Tim, that I really agree with is like, don't think about it too hard, because you will get to the point where you're like, well, wait, why is this, and what about that? And I think if you just
in the movie,
yes, in the movie, in the moment when you're there,
the 0 to 60 works.
The 0 to 60 works. It's very consumable. It's like eating a bag of candy. You don't realize you're eating it all until it's gone, and then maybe you're unhappy with yourself. But I'm not to that point. I'm still in the glow of sugar high from watching the movie. So, I liked it. I don't think you need to see it in the theater, but sure, go see movies
Matt
in the
doesn't
theater.
support theaters.
I don't support movies.
No, we know.
Anyway, that's me.
Nice. Well, how many swattings would you give this movie?
Good
for those of you who don't know, and I can thank Blue Bloods for the reason why I knew what swatting was, which is where you call SWAT on a house that's not yours, just to get them to rush in and scare everyone, which is really dumb. If you're listening to this and you've done it before,
waste of police.
You're stupid. Like, and I'll slap you if I ever find you. Ooh, I took it to the next level. Okay, so 0 being the worst, 5 being the best in this context of this movie. Because that's 5 SWAT teams and 5 different people and 5 different families. That's a big party there. Ooh, that's a good time. So, Matt?
Sure. Yes.
In this context.
In this context, I'm going to give this 3 SWAT teams, 3 SWATings out of 5. And this was a good, fun time, and not a great movie, but good enough to for I think anyone to really enjoy. So, 3.
Tim?
Yep, I'm there. I'm a little lower. But I agree it's above average. Like I said, it defied my expectations. Whether or not my expectations were high or not doesn't matter. Hopefully, people's expectations from listening to us will always help raise a movie's profile. So I have it at a 2.7.
2.7. Yeah, I'm not too far off from both of you. I did enjoy this movie. I was very, very into it. Like, I wasn't. My mind wasn't wandering. I was very much like into the story. And, there were some parts that were really refreshing about this movie. I kind of almost wish this movie came out before Megan.
That's fair. Because Megan took it.
Because I can't remember what I gave Megan, but I feel like, without doing any research right now, I feel like I liked this movie more. But I guess it depends on what my total score is.
Megan was going for a different vibe as well, I think.
It really was. And honestly, I'm going to pitch something to everyone here, including the listeners. I think this is a good date movie, and let me explain why.
Okay.
This movie is the kind of nice, suspenseful things, like, where, like, sometimes that old trope of, like, suspense happens and maybe, like, you get closer to each other.
Unsettling,
like that. But it's not crazy suspenseful where it's like, that's the point of the movie. You're still, so I'm pitching this as, and maybe this is something we'll start doing, whether or not this is a date movie.
That's right.
I'm pitching it as a date movie. I think this is a date movie. I think you should take a date to it. I think it'll be a good time. My score is a 3.1. I enjoyed myself. I'm pitching it as a date movie, and I mean, I would watch this movie again, honestly. I wouldn't see it in theaters again, but in a year, and some change, if it was just out there, I'd watch it again, absolutely.
Okay.
So, there you go.
I think building off your point, Todd, like, it's the kind of suspense that's relatable. In a lot of like horror movies or stuff, it's like, it's probably not a scenario you'll be in as a person.
Yeah.
But like, this is something where AI is such a part of our lives now that you could see this happening. It's like you said, plausible was the word you used, Matt. Like, there was enough in this that you go, I could see how that would not only happen, but you're like, I could see how I would respond if that were to happen to me.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that gives it that suspense of like, gosh, would I fall into that trap too? And then you start thinking about it, and I think that good movies do that, make you think about what would happen if you were in that scenario.
Well, and context matters in storytelling too.
Yeah.
Because you have a movie like Jexy, which is very similar but a comedy, which we both walked out going like, or whatever. Then you change the format, and this is a suspense thriller, and you're like, okay, like, I'm back in.
Right, I get what you're saying.
Jexy. That was the second movie we reviewed,
You ever
right?
did? Yes.
Was it really? Wow.
Yes, it was.
I think so.
The Joker was first.
Might have been something in between there. Might have been third, but
Not what
it was.
that-
I guess
it
it's
was
true.
right
I
there.
didn't think about that,
Podcast
but that was
release, I
really
think.
early. Yeah, it was pretty early on.
Yeah.
When we both walked out, and we're like, "What did we just watch?"
That's a call. That's a callback for our longtime listeners.
Did that dude just have sex with the phone? What just happened?
Nope. Jexy is number 2,
Yeah,
Nice.
right after Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Joker.
Mm-hmm. What a way to start the podcast.
Yeah, a nice little 6-minute, a 6-minute
Yeah, you guys
crapping on the
really-
Joker. That was like
We waxed
no
poetic
format
then.
to it, no nothing. Just what'd you feel? Hated it, bad, stupid. Why would you go see this? Like,
Yes. That was before we came into our own
Yeah.
as a
before
podcast.
we really figured out what we were
family
doing
here.
But see, what you're doing right now is what they were trying to do with the AI in this movie. You're marketing your history of why you should listen to us from the beginning and through the years, because our movie opinions and discussions evolve.
Matured.
Are you
matured.
are you pitching yourself to be our marketing PR team?
I mean, I can help.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up?
I'm happy that John Cho is still working.
I like John Cho a lot.
You know?
What's not to like?
Yeah.
What's
I've,
Not
I've,
that-
I've enjoyed him. In
Talk about a
everything-
person who
everything
fell
I've
into
seen him in.
obscurity, kind of like, you know.
all right? All right.
That's it.
No, that's good. No, I like
Personal
that. I
shout
like
out to
it. No, I
John.
agree.
If you're one of our, 100 listeners.
Yes.
Huh.
Or even if you check out this one to see what we think of your movie.
Yes. Well, that is going to complete this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we review the movie. What's it called? Afraid.
With AI capitalized.
Now,
in Afraid.
just to let you guys know how my mind works, now my mind is pitching movies, and the movie it just pitched to me was Harold and Kumar Are Afraid. And it's just...
It's the next
It's
step in
Harold
what
and
happened.
Kumar being trapped by AI.
See, that's a comedy.
Yes.
That's comedy.
Well, anyway, we saw a
Probably
movie called
better than
Afraid.
Jexy.
This is called Afraid. Yes.
It's better than Jexy. We gave it an average rating of 2.93333 swattings out of
That's
5,
pretty
which is decent. It's above average, and I think we all enjoyed it. And we would all say, "Hey, you
should check it
you
out.
should check it out."
It's almost 3 full teams of SWATs.
Almost. Maybe
One guy got left in
maybe
the
one
car.
guy,
Yeah.
one guy left.
One guy
behind.
lost a leg in the war.
No.
And there it is.
Yes.
But don't worry, he's got a prosthetic and he's still working.
Okay.
He's on the
okay.
SWAT team.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Seems dangerous to have someone like that on the SWAT team. But,
Nah.
No, it
I don't
really-
know what the parameters are for SWAT.
It really happens.
Hopefully you
happens all
never
the time. Anyway, thank you for listening to our podcast. Download it, subscribe, do all the things. Like
Live
us
it,
on
love
on Live, Love, Pray, everything. Yes, thank you, listeners, and we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da-da.
da da da.
Da-da-da.